Do you like scary movies? What about true crime? Are you into anything spooky? Well, you're in the right place. Welcome to Creep It 100.
Hi, guys. Welcome
Hello.
back to Creep It 100. I'm Mark.
I'm Kinston.
We forgot to introduce ourselves last episode, and I'm just now realizing that.
Damn. That's all right.
They got this episode.
Yeah, they know. It's okay. It's now in the show title, so
You're right. It is in the show title.
now they just had to guess last episode.
Today, we are you know what we're covering. It's a chapter 2, baby.
Yep.
Look at the face.
Yep. It's a little more Joker-esque today, though.
I think it's because my hair is out.
Your hair is like back and like longer.
Yeah.
It's very Ledger Joker at the moment.
You want to know how I got this podcast?
I had to work.
I worked hard. We built this set by hand.
It's true.
Yeah,
we did build this set by hand.
Yeah, we did.
We have a spirit in there.
we captured
Captured 4 spirits.
plot synopsis. 27 years after their first encounter with the terrifying Pennywise, the Losers Club has grown up and moved away until a devastating phone call brings them back.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The director is still Andy Muschietti.
Nice to see you again.
Nice to have you again.
Yep.
It opens up with a recap of what happened in chapter 1.
Right.
At the end. We get a little bit more of Beverly and the Deadlights. We get a little bit more of them sitting, talking during the blood oath and all this shit. 27 years later, boyfriends Dawn and Adrian are trying to enjoy their day at the Derry Carnival, and they run into a bunch of homophobic teens
Mm-hmm.
who are
Ugly
giving them
ones.
shit.
Ugly ones.
Real ugly.
Yeah.
Especially the one kid. Oh,
With the sores all over his mouth and shit.
Yes, dude.
A lot of nerve.
Trigger warning. Again. There's a hate crime about to take place.
Yeah, that's a trend in these movies.
A very violent one. The two lovers walk over a bridge, but they are followed. The homophobic teens violently beat them and throw Adrian over the bridge into the rapids underneath. Adrian is struggling to see, but he can only make out a figure, so he starts swimming to the closest figure he can find.
Mhm.
Unfortunately for him, it's Pennywise the clown.
Yep.
So Pennywise picks him up. Dawn runs over to see this. Poor Dawn sees his boyfriend get eaten alive.
Get chomped.
Chomped. Pennywise takes a huge chunk out of
Mhm.
Adrian's side.
Yep. The kills happen the exact same way. The first kills.
Yeah.
Because he does the unhinged thing.
Yep.
And then just chomps.
It's fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
A bunch of balloons come in, and Adrian and Pennywise disappear, and Dawn is just like, what the fuck was all of that?
Yeah.
I would have been scared.
Yeah.
We then meet a grown-up Mike Hanlon, who still lives in Derry. I think he's the only one that lives in Derry.
He is.
He sees the crime scene, and he sees blood written on the bridge saying, come home,
Mm-hmm.
which means only one thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's back.
Yep.
The Dark Lord is back.
He's got some motherfucking calls to make. That's what it means.
Yeah. His phone better be charged, because he's got to make at least 6 phone calls.
Call the whole club.
Gotta get him on the phone, baby. It started when we were younger.
Has nothing to do with that at all.
Yeah, because it started when they were younger. Blood oath, baby. Really obscure. It had to do with it, but it was really obscure. It was really obscure.
Small connection. It's fine. It's passable.
We then meet a grown-up Bill, who was a writer for Universal Studios, and he sucks at writing endings,
Mm-hmm.
which is a reference to Stephen King himself.
Yeah.
Essentially, Bill is Stephen King in this movie. He's like a stand-in for Stephen King, if you will.
Yeah. Also, the only one that doesn't look like him as a kid.
The only one.
All the other ones are so perfectly look casted,
Mm-hmm.
except him.
So he's got a wife. Bill has a wife who is an actor on this movie set.
Yes.
And the director and his wife are pissed that he cannot come up with a good ending.
Mm-hmm.
He then gets a phone call. It's Mike Hanlon. He essentially invites him back just for a reunion.
Yeah.
He doesn't really say why. But when he looks at his hand, he sees that the scar from the blood oath is back.
Mm-hmm.
All these guys, other than Mike, have like no memory of Pennywise
Yeah.
or like anything from their childhoods.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. When we were watching last night, my girlfriend was like, "Why why do they fucking remember? I don't understand." Like she caught on to it immediately, and I was like, fuck, I want to tell you, but they'll tell you in about 10 minutes.
Yeah. We then get a scene of Eddie, who I think this is the best casting in the movie by far, is Eddie.
Eddie? I think Eddie is probably the closest. I think Mike might be tied for first.
I'd put Jessica Chastain up there as Beverly too.
That was not bad. Like I said, all of them are so good except for Bill.
Yeah.
Bill looks nothing like it, but like...
I don't know, bro. I really think Eddie's the best. He's got the mannerisms down. He looks just like the kid.
Yeah, I mean, if we incorporate like everything about it, not just looks,
Yeah.
I think he's definitely... And then the casting alongside with Eddie is also the best thing.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's honestly really impressive.
Yeah.
So Eddie he lives in New York, and he works for an insurance company. And he's married to someone very similar to his mom. So similar, in fact, it's played by the same woman.
Yeah, it's played by the same actress. But it's just like, she's made her look very, very like young.
Yeah.
It's so funny that it's literally the same person.
She's got like the same like attitude towards him and everything.
Yeah.
It's actually so funny.
Yeah, he became a risk analyst.
Yeah.
Which is also so fucking funny. The hypochondriac became like the person who decides risks for insurance.
Yep.
That's the person who decides whether or not you get your money.
Which
basically.
Is so funny. We then find out Stan is living in Atlanta, Georgia, and he is with an accounting firm. Very successful, need I add. He's got a really nice house. And then we see Ben, and he's a very successful architect.
Uh-huh.
Very successful. And I really like this scene because they do a fake out where they show this one guy talking in front of the conference table, and he played the original Ben. In
no
the
way.
1990s miniseries.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Which
cool.
is like a really cool, like, wow.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's cool. I like that.
And then we get a really fucking handsome Ben. Lost a bunch of weight from the first movie. Ripped as hell. Handsome as hell.
Yeah.
But he's still in love with Beverly.
Mm-hmm.
We see that in his wallet, he still has the year paper book that she signed.
Yeah. Yep. You can still see like the two hearts coming out of it, and he's like touching it.
Yeah, it's really sweet. We then see Richie is a stand-up comedian in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Really successful.
Yeah.
And when he gets the phone call from Mike, he gets ill.
He throws up over the
up.
over the banister.
Played by Bill Hader.
So fucking good in this movie.
So good. He is incredible.
I
in
love
this
Bill Hader
movie.
in general, but like he really killed it in this movie.
Yeah, he did. And as he's about to go on stage to perform, he downs a glass of whiskey and forgets his whole set.
Yeah.
Beverly is a fashion designer, also in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Lives with an abusive husband.
Yes.
Similar to her father, in a way.
Not
in like the really... No, yeah, because he tries to...
No, I'm saying like it doesn't look like a ton like him, but there's definitely like hints of him in there.
Yeah, he acts like him.
Yeah. He definitely acts like him.
Beverly and her husband get into a fight, and he ends up trying to sexually assault her.
Mm-hmm. That's during that fight is where I was like, oh, this is literally her dad, because he does like, she's like, oh, someone from like one of my old friends from Derry just called me. I have to go back there. I'm sorry. Like I know this is such short notice. Blah blah blah. And he's like, hey, it's okay, it's okay. And then she's about to get up, and then he grabs her hand really hard, and he goes, I just don't understand why you would lie to me.
Yeah.
Like that. And then it's literally identical to the argument that Kid Bev had with her dad, of like, are you doing what do you say? Are you doing womanly things in the woods with those boys?
Yeah.
Like when he like is pretending to be cool for a second, and then he like flips like that. It's the exact same thing. It's ugh.
It's fucked up.
It's icky.
So Mike calls all of them to come back,
Mm-hmm.
and with each phone call, something tragic happens. With Bill, it was him almost getting fired. With Eddie, he gets T-boned.
Mm-hmm.
He gets T-boned. What happens with Ben?
Nothing.
I don't think we...
Ben's chilling.
Like I said, Richie he pukes, gets real sick, and then we already know what happens to Bev. But Stan gets the worst of it.
Yeah.
He remembers. Stan remembers what he dealt with.
Mm-hmm.
So he gets in his bathtub. He slits his wrist downways, and so he ends up taking his own life in that bathtub.
Yes. For some reason I thought he was a teacher. because his wife is behind him trying to book that trip. Right when he gets the phone call,
Mhm.
and then she goes, "Are you sure you're gonna get time off?" And he goes, "Yeah, of course I can. It's summer." So like for some reason in my head that made me think that he was a teacher.
I did the research. It said it. He was.
I mean, it never says that he's a teacher. I just for some reason that's just what popped in my head. That's why I was so confused.
Yeah.
I think I just thought that for like 2 seconds, and then that was just what it was in my head. Yeah, and then also interestingly, when Mike is calling everybody back, like you said, he's the only one that remembers, but he's the only one that actually says anything about it. All of them are like, every single one of them says, Mike who? And then they're like, yeah.
Mike Hanlon.
Yeah. And then he's the only one that's like, he's like, oh, it's Mike Hanlon. And then he's the only one that goes, it's back, isn't it?
Yeah. Stan is the only one.
And then he's like, yeah, how quick can you be here? Well, I have to work some things in the morning tomorrow. And then he hangs up and just like, see ya. I also love the way that he gets the phone call underneath the table. That's a really like, I don't know, it's just a cool kind of shot that they did.
It was cool.
Yeah.
It sucks seeing Stan go this early
Mm-hmm.
because he was one of my favorites from the last.
Yeah. His spooks were the scariest,
Yeah.
I think, with that creepy lady.
And I liked his. If I was 12, I would say I was a mix of Richie and Stan.
Mm.
And I resonated with both of them in that way,
Yeah. I get that.
which is why I liked both of them so much.
Yeah.
They really nailed that being a kid shit. Like,
Yeah, they
it's
really did.
insane how good, how relatable those kids are. So we cut to a psych ward and we see that Henry Bowers is still alive and is locked up there.
Mm-hmm.
We get a flash of him getting arrested after coming up from this really disgusting scene where he comes out of the storm drain with all of the dead kids, and he goes back home and gets arrested for the murder of his father.
I loved that shit. It was such a fucking. It was so because all the other sheriffs are there, and or all the other police are there, and knows he did it. Like immediately, he walks up and he has the knife in his hand still, and then they start to arrest him, and he goes, stop, I'm not done,
Yeah.
because he still has to kill them all.
Yeah. So Pennywise has ruined this kid's life,
Mm-hmm.
and he is still batshit insane. Like, he's insane.
Yeah.
He's insane still.
Yeah.
He sees a red balloon outside of the window.
Mm-hmm.
It starts floating, so he starts following it through the hospital. It leads him back to his room, where there's a red balloon under his bed. It pops, and we see a dead version of Patrick Hochstetter in there. And he brings out the knife.
Mm-hmm.
He hands him the knife, and he's like, "What'd you say, Hochstetter? You son of a bitch."
Yeah,
Some shit like that.
No, that's what he yells when he gets in the car with him.
That's right. All right.
Right when he goes there, he recognizes that it's Hogstetter. When it crawls out towards him, and then they stop, and he goes, Hogstetter? And that's when he with the knife, and then he turns it around to give him the hilt instead of the blade.
So he's got his old knife back, which is not good news for the Losers Club. Speaking of, the Losers Club have a reunion at the Jade of the Orient, which is like the best Chinese restaurant in Derry. They're having a great time, to be honest. They're all catching up,
Oh yeah.
and it's really fun to watch. It really is. They catch up on each other's lives, like what they're all doing and all this stuff, and then they all start to kind of remember things from their childhood.
Mm-hmm.
And even Bill's stutter starts to kind of come back.
Yeah.
Mike then gets straight to the point. He's like, hey, he's back.
Mhm.
Pennywise is back. And that's why we're here. And that's when they all notice that Stan has not made it. They all then get fortune cookies that spell out Stanley just couldn't cut it.
Mm-hmm.
So sad.
Yeah.
And then the fortune cookies turn into really gross creatures, and they all start freaking out and getting attacked by these creatures. And then the vision stops, and the whole the little dining area they're in is destroyed.
Yeah. They've just fucking wrecked it. And then the way lady comes in, it's like, everything okay? And then Richie's like, yeah, just the check, please.
On the way out, Richie gets approached by this kid. And he goes, are we having fun yet? The kid says that to Richie, and Richie thinks it's Pennywise. So he gets up in his face. And what does he say to him? I can't even remember.
He says, fuck you. Fuck you. I'm not afraid of you. Fuck you. And then the kid goes, are we having fun yet? The line from your act, dude.
And then the kid's parents come in. They're just like, what is his
come on,
problem?
dude. Come on.
And he goes, "Oh, you want an autograph?" He's like, "No, man.
No, I think I'm good.
I think I'm. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I think I'm good." And the kid walks away.
The relationship is still the exact same. and
Exact
it's so
same.
funny. Literally, it reverted back immediately. And while they're sitting there at the dining table when they're all catching up and shit, it's also a really funny line is they all go, they're all like, "No way Richie got married. I don't even have to ask. I know you're not married." And Richie's like, No, I
You guys didn't hear?
I did get married. Yeah, we got married a while ago, and me and your mom are really happy. And then Eddie goes, "Fuck you. Hey, fuck you, dude."
It's spot on.
Yeah.
They did a great job.
Richie just talking so much shit about Eddie and his job and everything, and he goes, "Oh, so you're a risk analyst? What does that exactly entail?"
It's honestly so good. The
Yeah.
casting is damn near perfect, other than Bill.
Yeah. And then, oh god, Bill Hader as Richie is so fucking good. He's so funny.
Not to break the fun mood, but they then call Stan's residence and they find out that he's dead.
Yep.
And they're like, "Oh." They all just decide, "Hey, we don't want to do this. We're gonna go back home."
Mm-hmm.
And Mike is like, "Please don't leave,
Yeah.
please." We then cut to a little league game with this little girl bugging her mom, like, "I want to leave. I want to do something else." And she's like, "Victoria, we came to watch the game, so we're gonna watch the game."
Mm-hmm.
And then this little firefly thing catches her attention, the little girl, and she follows it under the bleachers,
Mm-hmm.
and it goes through the bleachers into Pennywise's hands. He catches it. He comes out. He does the hello.
Yeah.
Um.
It's the little girl from the first scene too. It's the same stuffed animal that the gay guy gave her.
Oh, it is. That's right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So she's like freaked the fuck out at first,
Mhm.
and she's like, "Yeah, I don't really want to talk to you." And Pennywise sees that she has a birthmark on her face and that she's really sensitive about it. So he really plays into that. He's like, "Oh, people always make fun of the way I look." And she's like, "Really? Me too. Because of this thing." And he
Mhm.
goes, "That thing? I could blow that thing away. I could blow that thing right off your face. Just come closer." It's fucked.
Mm-hmm.
So she gets closer. She puts her fucking birthmark up to him. He starts counting down. He starts drooling, which means he's about to eat her.
Mm-hmm.
And then he gets her. His mouth opens up real wide and chomps down on her entire head.
This doesn't make sense. This scene doesn't make sense.
How so?
He feeds on fear, but in the scene, he comforts her. He makes her feel less scared to then eat her. I don't understand where it comes from. Because she's scared initially, yeah.
And I wonder if that's...
It's not like a torment thing.
No.
It's like literally like he's like comforting and making her feel better just to get her. And maybe he's just trying to get numbers, bro.
It could be like one of those things where the more people he kills, the more...
I mean, because the first one was the one before the kid scenes was 106 people, 88 children. Like he got numbers.
Yeah.
So maybe he's just going for pure numbers.
Could be.
This time. I don't know.
I imagine Adrian wasn't that fucking scared of him.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like
So
I don't know. Oh yeah, that's true. The only other person that he's killed was was just like reasonably scared. It wasn't anything like crazy.
Mhm.
Yeah. He's on a different wavelength. Or maybe this is like trying to seek. Maybe he's trying to get Mike's attention to bring him home.
He's trying to get them back. Yeah.
Yeah.
He says that
Yeah.
later in the movie.
Yeah. Well, because he's doing the come home thing. Maybe he didn't know if that worked. So now he's just going for another one. Just trying to put bodies on the board so Mike would see it and invite them all back. That has to be it.
So we cut back to the psych ward, and we see Henry Bowers has made his way out of the psych ward by killing a bunch of guards. He jumps into a car with dead Patrick, and they drive off. They're going to Derry, Maine, baby. Cut back to Derry. Mike convinces Bill to come to the Derry library, also where he fucking sleeps.
Yeah.
He gives him water, and he shows him an artifact from the Shakapewa tribe, and he tells them the story of the ritual of Chud. He also drugs Mike drugs Bill,
Mm-hmm.
so he can see these visions of old Pennywise in his bird form attacking this tribe, and the ritual of Chud starting.
Pennywise in bird form is sick as fuck.
Oh, it's badass.
What a cool prequel movie.
I think we're getting that, by the way.
Really?
We're getting a prequel. Could be any of them.
That'd be so sick.
I hope it's that.
I don't want the Easter disaster one.
I don't think
gonna be
the
boring.
black spot would be a very good one either. I feel like that'd be a little too touchy.
Yeah. It has to. I would hope it'd be like that. That'd be sick as fuck.
I mean,
It'd be like the Predator when they brought the Predator back
Yeah.
all the way to like ancient times or
it
whatever.
just wouldn't be. I mean, Bill Skarsgård's involved. He just wouldn't be Pennywise.
Then.
He didn't get his Pennywise form until later on.
Yeah.
After Bill sees all this shit, he starts backing up Mike like, hey, if we don't stop this thing, we are going to die no matter what.
Mhm.
He saw that in the vision. And to do the ritual of Chud, you need to, for this sake, you need to grab tokens, like correct tokens from your childhood to complete the ritual. So they all go back to the old clubhouse that they built, which was never in the first movie. Didn't make much sense, but
Yeah.
they get there and they start remembering more, and they start realizing, I need to search this place for this said artifact from my childhood. So Bev goes to her old apartment. An elderly woman named Mrs. Kirsch answers the door and invites her in for tea. She goes into her old bedroom, breaks open the floorboards, and grabs the old poem. This is her token.
Mm-hmm.
They then have tea together, and Mrs. Kirsch leaves and comes back a full fucking monster.
Mm-hmm. Such a good. That's probably one of my favorite scenes in the entire movie.
It's pretty fucking scary.
I love my two favorite like little like quick things is when she walks up to the door, it says Marsh.
Yeah.
She looks back, it says Kirsch.
Yes.
When she answers when they open the door for the first time, that is Bill Skarsgård's voice.
Mhm.
It's Pennywise saying like
Yes.
yes. I love those two things, and I when I watched it, I noticed that it was off, and then remembered that I knew that fact, and I was like, that was cool. Again.
You also see a bunch of pictures of Bill Skarsgård like on the wall.
Uh-huh.
It's really cool. Beverly managed to escape the monster, and she gets in this hallway where we see a human version of Pennywise putting on the makeup, and he basically tells her it is useless to even fight him.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna win. Richie goes back to an old movie theater where he finds his token, an actual token,
Mm-hmm.
to the arcade. We then get a flashback to Richie meeting this guy that he is having a good time with.
Mhm.
And Henry Bowers and his friends come in and start calling him gay slurs. It's not great.
Mm-hmm.
And the other kid, I think he was cousins with Henry Bowers, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
So he jumps back in with his cousin and kind of abandons Richie right there.
Mm-hmm.
We then see Richie go to a park with a huge statue of Paul Bunyan, who's this like lumberjack icon that they
Yeah.
have in Derry. And it comes to life and starts to chase him down. And then it cuts back to grown-up Richie sitting at the same park. And he looks up at the Paul Bunyan statue, and Pennywise is sitting up there.
Mm-hmm.
And Pennywise reveals that he knows his dirty little secret in musical form.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty cool scene. I like how everyone in the background's like all moving around with the music too.
Yeah.
It's eerie.
Mm-hmm.
So Pennywise knows a secret, and Bill does not know that. Richie does not like that he knows that.
Yeah.
So Bill goes to a pawn shop because he sees his old bike in the window. His old bike's silver.
Yep.
And Stephen King's in there. Stephen King's just in there.
Yeah.
He's the pawn shop owner.
Yeah. He does a Stan Lee thing
Yeah, he does a little
where he
cameo.
just posts up.
And he recognizes Bill as this famous writer, and he's got one of his books. And he's like, "Oh, did you like it?" He said, "Yeah, I liked everything but the ending."
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So Bill ends up buying the bike, and he rides it around town. He rides it to where Georgie was killed,
Mm-hmm.
and he sees Georgie reaching out to him with the paper boat. So he reaches in, and a bunch of little hands start grabbing him, like little baby hands.
Yeah. Shit's nasty,
really,
bro.
Really fucking scary. Bill freaks out and pulls out, and he manages to get the SS Georgie,
Mm-hmm.
which is his token.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was going to be the bike,
I thought it was gonna be the bike too.
but nope, it's the SS Georgie.
I remember thinking like, that sucks as a token, because he's gonna have to drag that bitch with him the whole time.
And then we see the kid from the Jade of Orient
Mhm.
just standing there watching. And he then explains to Bill that he hears voices in his sink. And
Mm.
Bill starts freaking out.
Yeah.
It's like, just get out of here.
Yeah.
Get out of here. And the kid gets freaked out, and he skateboards away.
Yeah.
He just skateboards the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
Like, all right,
It's like, this fucking weirdo, this weird ass fucking adult screaming at me.
I know, it's happened to him twice.
Literally.
Twice, poor
In the
guy.
same friend group.
Yeah, same friend group.
Like, God, go home. All of you.
We then get to Ben and how he's trying to look for his token. He goes to his old school, the old Derry High School. We then get a flashback of him in a classroom alone with Beverly. And she starts calling him fat and ugly. Turns out it's Pennywise.
Mm-hmm.
A really, really cool scene where Beverly goes, January embers. My heartburns there too. Yeah. Her just like catches on fire and chases him through the fucking school. And then he hides in a locker.
Mm-hmm.
And Pennywise is in that locker with him. And then he says, kiss me, fat boy. Which is a reference to the 1990s miniseries.
Okay.
Really nice. Turns out Ben's token is just the yearbook Beverly signed all those years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And he's already got it on him. So Ben goes back to the inn that he is staying at.
I just remembered something that we glossed over that was just a really fucking funny quote. When they all go back to like that little clubhouse thing, that nobody knows where the fuck it came from. In the flashback scenes, I believe that this is after Pennywise.
Mm-hmm.
This is like just like for the rest of their childhood they do this until they move away. But there's this scene where adult Richie hides in the shadows and then goes, "You'll float too. You'll float too," and then starts coming out, and then he goes, remember when you used to say that?
Remember
shit?
that fucking weird little dance?
And then he do a little fucking does that? He goes, remember you used to do that shit? And then someone's like, I think it's Eddie is like, it's like, bro, this is not the fucking time for jokes. And he goes, all right, just trying to make light of it. I'll go fuck myself, and walks away.
Great scene.
Oh my god, that's my favorite Richie quote from this one. Because remember that weird little fucking dance he used to do?
I like the music, the little. So yeah, Ben goes back to the inn that they're staying at, and Beverly starts to explain that she thinks Bill is the one that wrote the poem. And before Ben could correct her, Richie storms in and is ready to leave. He's like, "I'm packing my shit. I'm out of here. Fuck this. I'm gone." Cut to Eddie going to the pharmacy. We get a flashback of him seeing him in the pharmacy, hearing his mom scream down in the basement. So he goes down there and he sees the leper attacking his mom.
Yeah. Also, that clubhouse scene, since Stanley's not there, is where they find Stanley's token.
Yes, which is a shower cap for some reason.
Yeah. Very, very just unrelated to the first movie.
Very unrelated to the first movie, and it makes no sense because
I think that was like something that they wrote like that day.
Yeah.
Like in production. They're like, fuck, okay, well, we can't do this without Stanley's token. Let's just like... and they just like built this little clubhouse. Because everything about the clubhouse and finding that in the clubhouse and then like these flashback scenes literally has nothing to do, wasn't even mentioned in the first movie. The only thing that they did to preface that there'd be a clubhouse is when they first introduced Ben, and he's like talking about this new building he wants to build, and he's like it shouldn't look like a prison. It should look like somewhere where you want to hang out.
Yeah.
A clubhouse. And that's when he starts to like rub the little fucking Bevy Marsh. It's a signature. But I don't know.
I wish they would have expanded on it in the first one, but
it's already too fucking long.
Yeah.
There's no need for a clubhouse scene. I would have just added 15 minutes of unnecessary shit.
I was talking about the leper and how it's attacking Eddie's mom, and it like sticks its long ass tongue into her mouth. And that probably traumatized Eddie's poor fucking hypochondriac ass.
Yeah.
As an adult, he goes down there and he sees that the leper is still down there.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what this was or why they did that, but it grabs him and pukes on him in a really weird moment, and it plays like 80s love music over it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was an interesting choice.
Very like Thor Love and Thunder vibes.
Yeah.
Like randomly. Like
It Chapter 2 created the MCU, and I stand by that.
Actually. With the cameo and everything. Super quick and then off the topic, but Stan Lee being in all those films was written to be Cap when he went back in time and became old.
Actually,
they were going to transform it into like that was Cap looking out for them the whole time with Stan Lee.
I would have loved that.
When he went back in time, it was supposed to be played by Stan Lee, but he'd already passed.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
He had already passed. So it was going to be Stan Lee as Cap, and then that was going to be him in all the movies, like watching out for them the whole time, in secret.
That I would have loved.
Cool ass
that.
concept. I saw that.
Couldn't happen.
Yeah. Anyway, back.
Bill goes back to the inn and meets up with Beverly, and they remembered that they shared a kiss at the end of the first movie, and they decide to recreate that even though Bill is married.
So is Bev.
They're
Legally. she drops the ring.
emotionally, maybe not.
No,
but,
fuck no. Doesn't seem like very emotionally.
Beverly's
he
a
is either.
little more forgiving.
Yes, definitely. In
Bill,
this scene.
not so much.
Yeah.
And then the skateboard that the kid had earlier comes down the steps, and on it, written in blood, it says, "You won't be there for him either." And Bill's like, "Oh fuck!" He takes off. He just takes off in order to save him. Richie begins to leave as well. Like he's gone. We see Eddie up in the inn in his bathroom cleaning the puke off of him, and he shuts the medicine cabinet, revealing Henry Bowers is there. Henry stabs him through the cheek.
That was, when I saw that in the theater, that was actually the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
At that point. Like, when the...
when the knife was like...
he was like, his mouth was all open, and you could see it inside of his mouth. You could see it come through in his mouth. Oh, my God. It's low-key such a innocent injury.
Yeah.
But it just looks insane.
Yeah.
Like, up this way, rough. This way, it's just like some skin right there.
Yeah. You're
This
fine.
whole part of my cheek fell off when I was a kid. And they just Elmer glued it back on.
Easy.
So, like, yeah, you ain't got to worry about shit.
I mean, also it's just like the shock value. Like it just happens so fast.
Yeah, he pops out the fucking shower and just...
Yeah. So Eddie, with the knife in his cheek, he starts laughing and just backs up like it's a panicked laughter. It's not like a, oh, this is funny.
yeah.
He gets in the shower, shuts the curtain. Henry Bowers is waiting out there for him. And then Eddie stabs him through the curtain with the same knife in his chest. Henry then escapes, takes the knife out. He takes the knife out and blows a kiss to him. We are now at the carnival. Bill runs into the carnival. Bill runs into the carnival funhouse.
It's okay. You last episode you said Chorzy instead of Georgie one time.
I know. That's why.
And I didn't say it because
went back
I thought
and-
it was funny, and
and
I just
resaid
wanted to let it. I just went with it.
I know. I know. So Bill runs to the carnival in the funhouse. He sees the kid. He follows the kid in like this weird house of mazes and windows, and
A fun house.
it's a funhouse, yeah. But he can see him, but the kid cannot. Like, the kid doesn't see him until way later.
Yeah.
Pennywise is in there though. Surprise! He starts. So if the kid is here on one side, Pennywise is on the other side of the glass, and then Bill is parallel to the kid on the exact opposite side, where there's glass in between him too.
Yeah.
So Bill watches as Pennywise starts beating down the glass with his head.
But it's cool.
Yeah. He ends up breaking the glass and chomping the kid in like one bite.
Yeah.
It's pretty fucked up.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Yeah. So Bill sees that all happen in front of him, and he is just fuck. It's pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
We cut to Richie driving out of town, and he's like, "Oh man, I can't. I gotta go back. They need me." He's like, "No, I don't. I've got dates in fucking Reno, man." He then sees the synagogue that Stan went to. We then get a flashback of a bar mitzvah speech, and during the speech, we see flashbacks of the kids. It's really nice. And Richie decides to go back. We then cut to the library. Mike is looking at a book, and we see an article deftly manipulated by Pennywise talking about 2 crackheads that were killed in a house fire, which were his parents. While he's looking at this, Henry Bowers attacks him out of fucking nowhere. Luckily, Mike still got it. He throws him through a table. However, Henry does end up getting the upper hand, but Richie gets back right at the right time and uses an axe to kill him. Right in the back of the head. Richie kills Henry, and he's like, "Damn, long time coming." Bill Hader in this movie is actually incredible.
He's so good.
And he also pukes right after he kills him, too.
Yeah.
They all meet up. They all go to the Niebolt house because, like, it's time, baby. It's time. Bill, Richie, and Eddie end up getting separated just like before. Ben and Beverly and Mike are all in a different room. And Bill and Richie, Eddie, they're in the room where the fridge is from the first movie. The fridge opens up, and it's Stanley's contorted body. Except instead of, Stanley getting out, his head just falls off and rolls over to him. And he's like, oh my God, my head. What the fuck happened to me? I don't remember exactly what Stan says, but then he starts growing spider legs out of his head, which is a nice reference to John Carpenter's The Thing. In fact, a direct quote from The Thing is preceded after this scene, and it's Richie saying, you've got to be fucking kidding me. Amazing reference. Meanwhile, on the other side of the wall, we see on Ben's stomach, letters just start showing up as if it was getting carved in. And it starts spelling out the words home at last. And if you look in the mirror, you can see that Pennywise is holding him in the mirror, carving it.
Yeah.
So Bev she's pretty fucking smart. She takes one of the iron, probably the same one that she stabbed him with.
Yeah, because it's just like sitting there.
Yeah, it's just sitting there. She grabs the fence piece and breaks the mirror. And he's fine. Ben's fine.
I would have like looked at where he was and then just tried to like poke around there. Like where he was grabbing him.
Yeah.
Like I would have tried to like poke around there and then like got his ass.
It's yeah. There are like laws that Pennywise has to follow too.
Yeah.
So like
I do like that. I like that he has like restraints.
So I wonder if like if that space that he was in the mirror, if you were to stab that, if that would do anything to him.
If she would have stabbed the mirror instead of breaking it?
Yeah.
Or if she would have stabbed this like where he was.
Either. The space probably no. Because he's not there.
Yeah.
The
I guess
mirror maybe.
Yeah, I guess I'm like he shows up in mirrors but he's he's invisible. But he's still there.
Like you can still see him if you look.
No, like he would still be in that space, just invisible.
You
So like
think
if you went like that, you would punch him, you would hit something, but it would just be invisible. That's like that's what my mind would have thought of, and that's why I was like, yeah, I would have just stabbed that spot.
I would have went for the mirror because I don't think it's got to be a physical thing because of that weird law.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after that, we cut back to the other room, and Stanley's head is almost like it's doing damage. It's about to kill Richie. Luckily, Ben breaks down the door and beats Stanley's head's ass.
Yeah.
It's pretty fucked up, actually. Then guess what they do? They go into the sewer. And then they get into that area where they were last time, and they decide to go into that one drain pipe that Pennywise had disintegrated into. So they go down in there, and they see this crazy fucking structure.
Yeah.
Which is a crater created by Pennywise from when he fucking crash landed there from outer space.
Yeah.
And that's where he's been living ever since. It's fucking nuts, actually.
That's where he went to go recharge.
It's where he sleep. They all then begin the ritual of Chud with all their tokens. And they start chanting, turn light to dark, as 3 huge blue lights descend on them. Unfortunately, the ritual doesn't work, and a giant Pennywise appears with giant spider legs and claws. His attack then splits them all up, and they're all separated. And they all kind of experience their own little fucking event.
Yeah.
Bill gets a Georgie flashback where he's in the water back in the basement, and young Bill comes down the steps.
Yeah.
And young Bill's trying to talk to him. It's really intense. Beverly ends up in a stall. Ben is in his old clubhouse. The stall starts filling up with blood.
Yeah.
The clubhouse starts filling with dirt. And then it's really weird because Bev is like down. Ben is up. And they can see each other.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
There's also a little drawing of Pennywise on the bathroom stall.
Oh, yeah. It's nice. As they almost die, Ben calls out January Embers, giving Bev enough strength to kick down that door.
Yeah.
And then they are saved. Woo! Richie and Eddie are at the 3 doors we saw in the last movie. The scary, not very scary, or not scary, scary, very scary. They open up the very scary one, right? That's the first one?
Yeah, because that's what worked last time.
They're at the 3 doors, and they open up the not very scary door, and it's the other half of Betty Ripson's legs, or like it's her lower half.
Yeah.
Comes dancing out at them.
Yeah.
So they shut that shit fast as fuck, and they open the not scary door, and it's a dog. And then it turns into a horrifying creature.
Yeah.
And they shut that door, And what, do they just run back out? They just run out of there, don't they? They just run back out. Mike was left there with Pennywise. So Pennywise just has Mike.
Yeah, he was the only one that didn't get, like, sent to another area.
Yeah. And Pennywise just like, oh, your ritual didn't work. What are you going to do? And then Richie throws a rock at him.
Rock fight. Rock war.
And he's like, what did you say? You want to know the truth? You're a sloppy bitch. That's right. And he gets ready to throw another rock, and then he gets stuck in the deadlights, just like Bev did in the first movie. So he's stunned. As Pennywise is about to kill Richie, Eddie comes out with a spear. He throws it. It goes right into Pennywise's mouth, causing him to spew fire and fall back and get impaled by like a, I don't know, what would you call that? Like a rock formation?
Yeah, like it's like one of like stalagmite, I guess.
Yeah, but it's not really.
It's the one that's it's like it's from the crater,
Yeah.
right? So it's like, I don't know, like it's like if a water splash went up and then froze perfectly in place.
Exactly.
But it's like jagged, and so he falls back into one of those and gets
impaled. So Pennywise is impaled, and Eddie is like, yeah, I killed Pennywise. Like he's sharing his excitement with Richie.
yeah.
Richie wakes up, and then Eddie gets impaled by Pennywise's one of his claws.
Mm-hmm.
He then throws Eddie into a small cave type beat.
Yep.
And they all end up running into that cave after Eddie, and come up with a plan of making Pennywise believe he's a smaller creature, because they remembered in the first 27 years ago that whatever they believed in,
What happened?
would happen. So essentially, they go out there and bully Pennywise into thinking he's small.
He literally.
Yeah. He gets so small that he's like super weak, and they just reach inside of him and take his heart out.
Yeah.
And they all tear into Pennywise's heart, and he fucking dies.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of anticlimactic.
Yeah.
It's like what a big character
Yeah.
to have such a shitty death.
Yeah.
Stephen King, though, not very good at endings.
Yeah. It would have been cool if there was just like a full fight.
I would have loved that.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
sewers
well.
start to crumble, and Richie wants to, he wants to save Eddie.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't have no time.
Mm-hmm.
They have 0 time. They then end up at the quarry to wash off the blood. Richie breaks down, and they all comfort him, which Bill Hader's acting here is really, really nice.
Mm-hmm.
It cuts to Bill finishing a script, finally. Mike calls to check in, and he says, hey, check your mail. And they all get a letter from Stanley. It's really sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Look up the scene. I'm not going to quote this.
Yep.
Because it's a lot.
It is.
While Stanley's giving, and it's like kid Stanley giving the speech, too.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Yeah.
While he's giving the speech, we see that Ben and Beverly are finally together. Mike leaves Derry. Bill's still successful. And Richie's at the old kissing tunnel.
Yeah.
Where he carved R+E into it prior.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just refining it. Turns out, Richie's little secret was he was in love with Eddie.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really sweet. Really sad.
Very sad.
The end.
The end.
That's it, chapter 2, baby.
Yeah.
On my rewatch, I definitely enjoyed this more.
Yeah.
Than the first one for some reason.
100%, and I think it's exactly what we talked about at the end of last episode.
Exactly, and it's because I didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah, I forgot about so much this. I forgot about this movie so much that in my head, Richie was who died.
Really?
Mm-hmm. For some reason, when he gets hit with the deadlights and he just like
Yeah.
does that shit, I thought that was him dying. In my head, he died right there, and Eddie was fine.
Oh, you had a world of hurt coming.
And so it just got flipped for me, and I was like, what the fuck? I completely forgot.
I would give.
I think the effects were better.
Oh yeah, it was yeah.
It was only like a year or two after. I thought they were like dramatically better.
They had a bigger budget. Way bigger budget.
I thought that they were more.
And they had to de-age all those kids, and
Yeah.
so the CGI, I'm sure, like that had a good sum of money thrown
Yeah.
into it.
I thought it was. I thought the scare because they follow the exact same formulas. like as the first one. It's they all come together and then they all have their own separate fucking event that happens, and then that forces them to all go back to the thing, and then they find them together. It's the same thing, but their private events, I thought in this one were more creative.
Yeah.
Than the original ones.
Yeah. They did a good job too.
I think so too.
My initial watch, it wasn't as good as the first one for me, but rewatching these, I thought it was better, which is not at all what I expected.
Yeah.
So I'll give this 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I'll go 8.5. I liked it a lot.
Right on. Right on. Well, that's it for It Chapter 2, guys.
That is
It Chapter 2.
guys.
Right.
Just end on that stare. All right. Anything else you got for us?
No. What are we doing next week, Kinson?
So next week, you got nothing to watch, no homework. No homework this weekend. Next week, we are going to go over the disappearance of Elisa Lam. Very, very, very popular. I'm sure a lot of you have already heard of this from the Cecil Hotel in Las Vegas. It is the woman that was... There's a very famous footage of her in an elevator acting absolutely insane, and then she goes missing for days, and then she was found inside of the water tanker on the ceiling, or on the roof of this building. And there's a lot of, conjecture about this, especially the fact that she should not have been able to get in there and reclose the lid on herself in the water tanker. Is where, the main conspiracy stems from.
Interesting.
And what the fuck she was doing in this elevator, which, I'll go into a lot more next week. But, yeah, very interesting. There's actually a documentary on Netflix about it that came out that I have actually never watched. And so as part of my research, I'm going to go ahead and watch that. And I will let you know if that was worth it.
Be careful.
What?
Don't get shit wrong.
Oh, I'm not getting shit wrong.
We get shit right. Oh, no, we do lie.
We do lie. And if I get shit wrong, it wasn't me getting it wrong. It was just a lie.
We also gaslight.
We also gaslight. So I'll tell you that it was right. All right, guys. Well, come back next week for that. And then you will not see us the week after that.
That was a Discord exclusive.
That will be a Discord
So
exclusive.
if you wanted to hear an extra episode, subscribe to our Discord.
Yeah, so we're going to have there'll be links in the description. There'll be a website in our outro, I imagine, to get to the subscribe screen, to get on our Discord. We do a lot of fun things in there. There's a lot of different channels, a lot of community stuff that we can do in there to interact with you guys.
A lot of behind-the-scenes shit, a lot of exciting shit.
Yeah, and then as well as the catalog of episodes that you cannot see unless you are in there. So
I did want to talk about, before the new thing we're trying this season, the Creep at 100 ceremony.
Okay. Yeah.
Starting episode 6 and every 8 to 12 episodes after that.
Yeah.
Will be a special event episode where we do something big ish and elevate that specific episode to levels that you guys have not seen before.
Yeah. So we have one coming up on, you said episode 6?
Episode 6.
Yeah, so 6 will be the first one of those. Those, I will say, will never be a Discord exclusive. Those are going to be for everybody because we are working so hard on those that we want everybody to see that. They're going to be awesome. And yeah, make sure to check that out. Make sure to also, like we said, check out the Discord. It's going to be a lot of fun things in there. We got a pretty good idea of what we're going to be doing for those Discord episodes. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I think that there's going to be a lot of interaction. Which will be super fun. And I think that's where we're going to kind of get a little more personal, and we're definitely going to talk to you guys more in that.
Yeah, you'll see a more personable side of us. You'll get to know us better as people.
Much less structured.
Yeah, and we won't be talking about. We won't have a formula to follow, essentially.
Yeah, we're not gonna have to stay on track, and any rabbit hole of thought we go down will continue till it's done.
Yes,
because a lot of times on here we have to cut it because we can't talk about everything we want to talk about because there's just not enough time.
Yeah.
So that'll be a kind of a different vibe where we can do that.
So please, if you're interested in checking that out, please check out our Discord are tiers? They're tiers, right?
There's 3 tiers. Lowest one's going to get you in there for $5 a month. I believe we're at $5 a month for the lowest one. That's pennies every day.
Yeah.
Less than, just throw a $5 at us, and you get to see all of that. That you also, later in the season we'll talk about this more, but that's going to be the back catalog of everything we've ever put in that Discord as well. So,
yeah. And you will see exclusive behind the scenes content, like for our current ceremony, which I'm not gonna announce until a week before.
Yep.
You will get to see
That's why I didn't say
early
the name of it.
footage, behind the scenes footage of
Yeah.
our prep.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain that without saying anything
trying
about
to
it, yeah.
spoil it.
Yeah, that one's been in the works for a few weeks now already.
Yeah, and I can tell you it's actually shaping up to be pretty fucking sick.
Yeah. So, thank you guys for listening to this one. Come back next week for Elisa Lamb. See you on Discord for the next week. And then
we've got our Goosebumps TV retrospective.
Okay.
And we're back at it.
Yep, sounds good. We are back in the swing of things, guys. We appreciate your continued support.
He appreciates your continued support.
Yeah. And Mark appreciates your continuous support.
Support.
Yeah. Anyway, check out this cool outro Mark made.
Thank you for watching or listening to this episode of Creep It 100. If you like this week's episode, please feel free to rate, review, like, and subscribe to our show. These actions help the show get discovered, and they let us know how you feel. You may even get a special shout out on an upcoming episode. For the most up-to-date information, visit our website at creepit100pod.com, where you can sign up for our newsletter, play back any of our previous episodes, check out our community events calendar, and more. You can also follow us on our social media pages, including TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at creepit100pod. We also want to say thank you so much to all of our donors and sponsors who helped make this season possible. Because of your contributions, we were able to improve the production value of our show by purchasing new equipment. Your donations also let us continue with our production. And for that, we're extremely grateful. If you are looking for even more creepy content, including behind-the-scenes footage, bonus episodes, and live recording sessions, you can join our premium Discord server. For as low as $5 a month, you can unlock exclusives you won't be able to find anywhere else and support the show while doing so. Check out our membership tiers and benefits at creepit100pod.com/discord. Join us every Monday for new episodes, and don't forget to creep it 100.